I found out my husband had a secret family just 2 streets away. Have you ever felt like your life was perfect? Like nothing could ever go wrong? That was me, until one rainy afternoon changed everything. My name is Rachel Thomas. I'm 34 years old. I live in a peaceful little town called Maplewood, just outside Atlanta, Georgia. From the outside, my life looked like a dream. A sweet husband, Greg Thomas. A bright, playful daughter, Lily, who's 8 years old. A cozy house in a quiet neighborhood where everyone waved and smiled. Greg was a traveling car parts salesman. He would leave every Monday morning and come back home Friday night with stories about small towns and country roads. It was a life I trusted. It was a life I loved. Or so I thought. Rachel opening an old, worn briefcase. That rainy afternoon, I decided to surprise Greg. His birthday was coming up. I wanted to buy him a new briefcase, something classy, something he could be proud of. So I grabbed his old one from the closet, and that's when I found it. Tucked between wrinkled papers and broken pens was a piece of paper folded many times. I unfolded it slowly. It was a drawing, a crayon picture bright and colorful. It said, "To Daddy from Max." My hand stopped moving. Max? Who was Max? I sat there, staring at it, while the rain hammered against the windows. Was this some mistake? Greg had never once mentioned a Max. Ever. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe it's from a coworker's kid, I thought. But deep inside, a little voice whispered something different. And that voice wouldn't let me go. That evening, I asked Greg about it. I held up the drawing casually, pretending it was no big deal. Greg laughed. That easy, charming laugh I used to love. He said, "Oh, that? That's from my buddy's kid at the shop. Max drew it while waiting for his dad." I smiled. I nodded. But inside, my heart was thudding against my chest like a drum. What if he was lying? The next morning, my mind was made up. I had to know the truth. When Greg left for work, I waited a few minutes, grabbed my keys, and followed. Every street he turned onto, I stayed far behind. He should have been heading toward the highway. Instead, he turned left, then right, then left again, and finally, he pulled into a driveway, just 2 streets away from our own house. I couldn't believe it. TWO streets away. 2 minutes from the life we built together. Rachel parked down the block, watching. I parked carefully, ducked down low and watched. The house looked normal. Red bricks. Little garden gnome in front. 2 bikes leaning against the garage. And then, the front door opened. A little boy, maybe 6 years old, came running out, arms wide open, yelling, "Daddy." Greg rushed over to him, laughing. He picked him up and spun him around in the air. And then, a woman walked out onto the porch. Long brown hair, glasses, holding a tiny baby. Greg kissed her. Kissed the baby too. I gasped so loud, I slapped my hand over my mouth. Was this real life? Or was I stuck inside some terrible dream? Rachel's car speeding home, hands trembling on the wheel. I don't remember driving home. I barely saw the road through my tears. Questions spun in my mind like a tornado. How long has this been happening? Who was she? Did Lily ever meet them? And I didn't even know? Rachel sitting at her laptop, late at night, digging into public records. That night, while Lily slept peacefully upstairs, I stayed up. I searched every public record I could find. The address Greg went to belonged to a woman named Linda Monroe. But when I dug deeper, I found a newspaper article from 3 years ago. A baking contest winner. Linda Monroe. Except the caption said, Linda Thomas. My stomach twisted into knots. Greg had married her too. I needed help. Real help. So I called Jake, Jake was my high school friend, a tough guy who had become a private investigator. I didn't tell him everything. I just said, "I think my husband's hiding something. I need proof." Jake didn't ask many questions. He just said, "I'll find out." Jake trailing Greg, taking photos, hidden cameras. For the next week, Jake followed Greg. And every night, Jake sent me updates. Jake showing evidence to Rachel in a quiet diner. He slid a manila envelope across the table. Inside were photos. Photos of Greg, holding hands with Linda, tucking the baby into a stroller, kissing her. But it wasn't just one woman. Jake found more. Greg wasn't just playing husband to two families. He was meeting strange men in parking lots, exchanging packages, money, documents. Jake dug deeper. And what he uncovered was worse than I ever imagined. One night, we drove out to a storage unit outside town. Jake picked the lock. Inside were dusty boxes, piles of papers, and secrets. Fake passports, driver's licenses with fake names, stacks of cash bundled with rubber bands, and dozens of photos. Photos of different women. Women who looked like me. Women who looked like Linda. Rachel gasping, stepping back. Greg wasn't just lying to me. He was part of a criminal ID smuggling ring. Back home, Rachel and Greg sitting at dinner. Greg must have sensed something was wrong. He kept glancing at me across the table, asking if I was okay. I smiled, nodded. But deep inside, I was planning my escape. The next morning, before sunrise, I packed a bag for Lily and me. I left a short note on the kitchen counter. "I know about everything. Don't come looking for us." And we disappeared. That same evening, Greg tried to run. But Jake tipped off the police. Greg was caught at the airport with a fake passport, trying to skip town. His face was all over the news. They called him. Linda and I met face to face. We sat in a small cafe. Neither of us touched our coffee. We didn't fight. We cried. We were both victims. Both fooled. Kids playing together in the park. Today, our kids Lily and Max play together. Happy, innocent, never knowing the dark storm that brought them together. Sometimes I still walk past that house. The curtains are drawn now. The garden gnome is gone. And every time, I whisper to myself, trust but verify. Because sometimes, the people who smile the widest are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. You think you know your marriage until a single moment shatters everything. Just 2 streets away, a secret life was waiting to be discovered. Don't judge or accuse Linda of having kids for another woman's husband not yet. Coming up next is Linda's side of the story, and you won't believe what happened. Subscribe to get notified when it drops.
If you really enjoyed this video, kindly hit the like button, leave a comment, and share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll get a notification whenever we drop another fascinating video. Subscription is free. Here on Real Drama USA, we share true life experiences you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.